Welcome back to Let's Talk About That, where we're taking a retrospective look at the MCU, all the way from Iron Man, leading right up to the release day of Avengers Doomsday. So join us on that journey. If it isn't welcome back, please consider following, giving us a like, giving us a subscribe, and joining us on this journey. You can watch along if you'd like. So this week, with episode 3, let's talk about the Incredible Hulk.
So, The Incredible Hulk, 2008. I feel like it's the one that gets left out the most, I think, out of the MCU. I don't know if you would agree with that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's definitely a factual statement.
Yes. So I feel like it's when people are rewatching the MCU, I know me in particular, tend to leave it out. So when was the first time you saw The Incredible Hulk? And was it when we recently rewatched it, or?
No, it definitely wasn't when we recently watched it. No, we watched it like a couple of weeks ago. No, so for me, yet again, it's a childhood thing that I don't necessarily remember. Yeah. I know I definitely had Hulk around in the household because my dad's a big Hulk fan. So he grew up on the Hulk TV series. But as far as the film goes, we had the Eric Bana one on. Definitely, I remember that one because that was scared the life out of me. But then, as I got older, I definitely watched the Eric Norton one. Eric Norton? I was get his wrong.
I think you combine the two.
Eric Norton. No.
Ed Norton.
Ed Norton.
Yeah.
Every time I've got notes as well. Every time I'm bound to get something wrong every single episode. But that's what the comment section's for.
Feel free to correct him as many times as you'd like.
No, but it was definitely around in the house growing up. We had a lot of DVDs, VHSs of the Hulk TV show. Not so much the films, but the films were definitely watched at some point. But I don't have vivid memories. And as you say, because of that, again, we'll get onto the disconnect between, the actor change, and we will talk about that. But because of that, when I go to rewatch it, I kind of tend to skip it. I'm in that crowd, unfortunately, which is a shame because having rewatched it, it's a good film. I enjoy it. But go on, what about you?
Yeah, I tend to leave it out as well with rewatches. I think it doesn't help that obviously he gets recast later on, and there's no real direct tie-ins other than Thunderbolt Ross in a couple of the films, which you don't really need to watch this to understand who he is. So
there's more than that. Just tying them together now.
Well, yeah, now
in 2025.
Now that we've got Brave New World out, there's a bit more. But before that, I feel like there wasn't. You didn't need to watch it to understand. So I've got a confession that the time that we rewatched this for this podcast was the first time I've watched that film the whole way through. The only other time I've seen it is when it's been bits and pieces on the TV.
So had you ever, other than like on the TikToks and the social medias, because I'm going to talk like an old man, had you seen the post-credit scene?
Yes.
So you had seen that.
So it's like the pre-credit scene in this, isn't it?
Yeah. But like you'd seen again, we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
Getting ahead of ourselves as always. So you had seen that.
Yeah.
So you'd watch, because I remember in the Iron Man episode, which you just filmed, which you haven't watched, go watch that. It'll be in the description and it'll be on our channel page. But you mentioned that in your box set that you had, it didn't have what?
It didn't have the Incredible Hulk.
It didn't have the Incredible Hulk. So I'm not sure if that's a licensing thing.
It could possibly be, because I know that when Avengers Assemble came out, that's when Disney acquired Marvel Studios. Yeah. So perhaps, obviously, there's a whole rights which we will get into a bit later with Universal. Maybe that's why they let it out. But for a good majority of time before I kind of got more attuned to the MCU, I always assumed that the Incredible Hulk wasn't part of it. I just assumed that was a film that was released just sort of as its own entity. And it wasn't until we got on a bit later that I kind of realised then that, oh no, it is tied in.
Yeah, which is a shame, because I think it would have been very interesting to see Eric Norton, Ed Norton's version of Bruce Banner in a team aspect. Yeah, because I don't think he would have played well. I don't think he'd have played as well with others.
No,
he'd have been a lot more reserved and reclused
So should we talk about your figures before we get onto characters?
Yeah, so it's one of the things that I've really enjoyed doing for this.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a numbers guy, but looking at the budgets and how much it's made, and looking at how that would reflect now within the current way that films earn their money. So opening weekend, it earned 55.4 million, which again we've been adjusting for inflation, which, as we said in our Iron Man 1, is a bit hard to do because obviously the way films are made and the how much things cost in comparison to other things, and cost of living, and how much actors want, and all the union rights, which is a positive thing.
It's all positive,
but it's increased the cost.
Yeah.
You're looking at about 81.7 million for inflation.
Respectable.
Overall box office 265.5 million, adjusting for inflation 391.7, with a budget of. Do you think it was more or less than Iron Man? Iron Man had 140 million budget.
Ooh. I'm going to say, my natural instinct to say less.
More.
How much more?
10 million. So not
more.
In film discussion, not by a lot more, but by it did cost more, which is about 221 million for inflation.
Again, average movie budget nowadays, yeah.
Now, as I've just tested the knowledge on that, one of the other things we've been doing is we've been seeing how well the other person knows the public and the critics.
Yes.
So IMDb, since release, because obviously with the internet ratings and all these online sites that do critics, you can go back and you can change things over time. So the current rating, as of writing this, for The Incredible Hulk, out of 10, what do you think it's at?
Again, my natural instinct to say less than what Iron Man was, and despite only recently filming Iron Man, I can't remember what that was.
Iron Man was 7 point something.
So I'm going to say it's a 7.2.
It is less. It is 6.6.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, people don't like this movie. Rotten Tomatoes audience score. This is out of 100%. I'm
gonna go with similar to IMDb and say it's like a 6.8. No, it's 68%, isn't it?
It's 68%.
It's 68%.
That is bang on.
That's
I'm
the only
impressed.
time that's going to happen on this entire series. Is me
Somebody
getting that
get
correct.
this man a trophy. So yeah, 68% for that. So in my stats, I've got one thing written down.
Yeah.
Written by Zach Penn.
Interesting.
Now, the reason that I've highlighted that is because that is one of the only... phase 1,
yeah,
mostly written by 2 writers. This is one of the... Incredible Hulk and Iron Man 2 are the only Marvel films, again, comments, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right on this one, are the only Marvel films written by 1 writer.
Interesting.
The rest of them are either 2 or more.
Or like a writer's room.
Yeah. So obviously
okay.
You've got credits of Stanley and Jack Kirby, as they
of
always
course,
do.
Yeah.
But written by Zach Penn, directed by Louis Leterrier, which I probably butchered his name. So, talking facts and figures, one thing you like doing?
I like my cast.
You like your cast?
I like talking about cast because I think I connect a lot with characters, and I like talking about characters, and that's the thing I take away, I think, most from films when I watch them. So talk about the cast and the roles that they play, I think are very it's just very interesting to look at. So we've obviously got Edward Norton as Bruce Banner, I suppose / Hulk in this. I feel he's a more tortured take than we've kind of seen since, and I think this is a parallel we're going to bring up a lot in this, is since the 70s series. I think there's a lot of parallels and things that kind of link up with this. But compared to, and we might as well talk about it now, the Mark Ruffalo recast.
Yeah, you can't talk about the Hulk without, especially talking about Edward Norton's Hulk, without talking about the fact that they did recast and obviously then took it in a completely different direction.
Which I'll ask you a question.
Okay, go for it.
Which version do you prefer?
See, because Mark Ruffalo has such a tenure as the Hulk, it changes. If we're talking about, again, I don't dislike. You get a lot of the internet comments talking about Smart Hulk. I don't dislike it for the same reasons that a lot of people dislike that. But for me, I much prefer him in Avengers and Age of Ultron. I think that works a hell of a lot better than Edward Norton's version.
Yeah.
Edward Norton, as you've mentioned, feels much more like that recluse, escapist, on the loose, kind
Fugitive.
of fugitive on the run. that aspect of it, rather than brilliant scientist who is constantly fighting a fight that he always knows he'll win.
Yeah.
Which is the way that it's worded for Mark Ruffalo's one. I believe in Age of Ultron, Black Widow turns around and goes, all my friends are fighters. But there's one guy I know who's always running away from the fight because he always knows he'll win. Because the Hulk is a beast.
He is.
And that's the way I always view I view the Hulk as, not necessarily this big angry rage monster, but the saving grace of Bruce Banner that he's always running away from.
Yeah.
Rather than him running away in the Edward Norton sense from the government.
Yeah.
I think Bruce Banner should always be running away from the Hulk, not necessarily from something, which the 70s show did. He was running away from a reporter pretty much all the series. He was constantly getting chased. So yeah, I definitely prefer the Mark Ruffalo version. What about you?
I agree. I think it does help that that he has a longer tenure as the character than Edward Norton does. But I do prefer the more scientist take than the more kind of recluse, fugitive version that we see in this film. And I think Mark Ruffalo, I feel like you get more of a contrast between him and Hulk because he's a lot softer than Edward Norton is in this.
Until he's not, which...
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to talk about Mark Ruffalo too much because we'll talk about him more in the Avengers.
Yes, of course.
And subsequent films. We're saying subsequent films a lot, but subsequent films.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to reiterate, Edward Norton isn't without his praises within this film.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, when he does get down to the science parts of things, which we will talk about later on when we get to those scenes, he really, really nails it. I do genuinely believe that he is an intelligent person. And a lot of the things that he does while he's on the run, like there's a section where he sets up a scanner to scan for the military's radio as they're about to breach, and he's got all these fail safes, which feels like a very intelligent Bruce Banner thing to do. Not necessarily winning the fight by hulking out and beating the life out of people.
It's not his first
thing
to do. Yeah,
because he ran to Canada first in the film.
Oh.
So they mention at one point that they've tracked him, and he went through Canada, and then obviously went from there to I can't remember which foreign country he goes to.
Brazil. He goes to Brazil.
Yeah, of course. It's Brazil. Because you get that opening section when he's in the Brazilian factory, and you get the really nice thing that I was talking about, which I'll pass over to you for the opening because Mr. Graphics Man over here, you're much better at that sort of thing than I am. The 158 days without incident sign.
Yeah,
that he has. I really enjoyed that.
I quite like that's a thing. It's almost like he's kind of like he is practicing in the film of trying to control his transformations as opposed to giving into them, which I think Mark Ruffalo does the opposite.
Yes, we learned something called chai breathing, which is a technique that I had to learn through my theatre stuff. I've obviously just mentioned that you do graphics and I do theatre.
He's got it in again, folks.
I'm going to get that in every single episode because that degree, I want to get every penny out of that.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
So chai breathing, which is a technique of strengthening and almost meditating, but strengthening your breathing technique.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go into it too much because I don't know it too much, but I know I'm aware of it at least. I'm going to pass over to you for the opening title crawl and the origin story in a sense of the Hulk and Bruce Banner.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that they skip it in this film. It's obviously coming out 5 years after the Ang Lee Hulk film, which I think again it's an origin story. They just gloss over it really in the credits, which I think is a very clever way of doing it because. At the time, I think we spoke about this earlier, is that Hulk has kind of, I feel, lost almost its popularity that it had back in there. So I think I think general audiences at the time knew Hulk because he was one of Marvel's biggest properties. He's probably him and the X-Men and Spider-Man were their
I'm glad you mentioned. I thought you'd forget Spider-Man for a second.
I will never forget Spider-Man. But they're their biggest properties, so I feel like general audiences know and understand Hulk's origins. So sort of using that as a way to tell that through the opening credits, I think is a really interesting take. But it's almost interesting as well to think about that we're kind of losing the origin story thing now with superheroes.
And you're going to talk about what we did today.
Yeah, we've seen Fantastic Four First Steps today.
Yes, we have. Yeah. And I'm going to pull this back into shot now that I've been hiding the whole time.
But But yeah, they do it in that film is that they kind of gloss over the origin within the first sort of 10 minutes, sort of how they got the powers, but they don't necessarily show that on screen, which I think a lot of superhero films are doing nowadays, is that they understand general audiences don't need that. With kind of the Batman, Matt Reeves, and Superman, James Gunn, they give you little bits that maybe audiences that don't know will kind of grasp the concept from, and then after that, they're kind of just it allows, I think, to delve straight into the world and the stories rather than wasting the first half hour or first hour almost on their origins.
Yeah, it definitely takes its inspiration a lot from the X-Men and Spider-Man, because if you remember the first X-Men film, it has the voiceover of Charles Xavier talking about mutants and how they exist and mutant genomes and all that sort of thing, while you've got the very, very, very 90s/early 2000s graphics. Obviously, Spider-Man has that sort of spider web graphics. And from again, the reason I got you to do this bit and I asked you to, your thoughts on it, because graphically and, the way it's edited together as a title sequence in an art style, it's very comic book. It's very panelled. It comes up with all the characters' names, which I think is something we've lost in films. Credits.
I missed the opening credits. Spider-Man is the first one that comes to mind for me. That
anything that tells you the actors that are going to be in it before the end of the film
gets you excited for it.
It does, yeah. And it's something I do think we have lost within films now. You get it on your straight to Netflix, straight to Amazon stuff. Like there's a couple of films I've been watching recently. They come up with, because they've got characters and not characters, they've got actors that they have attached to it to sell the film.
Yeah.
And they come up with the opening titles crawl, and it comes up saying starring this character, this person, and that it has an opening title. We don't really get that anymore. It's kind of just straight into the film.
Yeah, which is it is a loss in a sense, but we move.
So speaking of sort of the visuals of the film, the one thing I want to mention as well. I can't say the one thing I want to mention. I've got many things I want to mention.
Many notes.
But one of my notes that I've highlighted is the opening section has got a very subtle green colour grading to it. Which obviously, the Hulk is green. Not originally though. Do you know what colour the Hulk was originally?
He was grey because the printers didn't print green. Back when they were printing the first Hulk comics.
And do you know why the Hulk is green?
Is it a printer issue or something like that?
No, so again, this is from people telling me this, people telling me that. I should probably do more research on this, but apparently they were going to put red because, red, anger.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then somebody in that went, no, he's the Hulk is a big, angry creature, but we don't want him to be scary. We don't want him to be like, absolutely horrifying, big, red, angry monster. It's more green. I don't know who decided to go green. I don't know why they chose green. But it's definitely a decision.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine him being... I could imagine him being grey. But that, Joe Fixit is grey.
Yeah, and I think green is I don't know. I'm probably just making stuff up here, but to me, I can kind of see. This is sort of my creative brain going here, but I can see green to grey in like green.
Yeah,
I don't know how to explain it, but
green to grey works more than green to red.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Than grey to red.
Yeah.
Should I say?
Yeah.
So I'm going to test your knowledge on graphic design here.
Oh no.
What? Because again, theatre graphics
degrees.
What does the colour green represent?
That's
It's called semiotics.
A very open question. It's all down to personal taste.
there is a very, very strong feeling that is supposed to be represented by green.
The first one's coming to my head is jealousy.
Jealousy. Well, yeah, exactly. So green-eyed monster is
degree
is a phrase that's used to talk about jealousy. So the Hulk is actually, you wouldn't like me when I'm jealous, rather than you wouldn't like me when I'm angry. Yeah. So again, notes.
I've realised we've kind of jumped straight from Edward Norton into the film. We've not gone over the other cast, because I know there's one in particular that you've said you've got a lot of notes on.
A lot of notes,
which is William Hurt as General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. That was a mouthful.
Oh, do you want me to do my notes on that now?
Go for it.
No, I'm going to let you do your whole cast because I interrupted you before.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we've got him. Which it wasn't until watching the film that I kind of remembered that we don't see him again until Civil War, which is 8 years later.
8 years later, yeah.
That's a long jump for quite an quite an important sort of side character or background character, I guess, if you can call him that.
But then again, where else would you put him?
I kind of just imagine him as almost like a Clark Gregg, Agent Coulson thing, just sort of popping up every now and then, because I think he's such a political and kind of militarian figure, obviously in that universe, that I feel like he should appear more than he does. But hey ho. We've got Tim Roth as Emil Blonsky, Abomination.
Who has an even longer jump.
Yeah, we don't see him again till She-Hulk, which is 22.
Yes, 2022.
22. Which I think he's. I think watching this now, obviously I haven't seen it properly before. Watching this now, I think he's a strong villain in this. Sort of similar to again. I know we have the Marvel villain problem.
It's the villain problem again.
Taking
the same powers, the same thing.
Yeah,
fighting the same thing. It's 1v1. We've got the same powers. We're gonna fight Hulk with Hulk, fight fire with fire.
But take away Abomination from that. I think Emil Blonsky as a character and that sort of antagonist, I feel is very strong. I understand that he's kind of got that addiction to wanting to become more powerful, stronger, and obviously then that leads him into that.
I wish we got to see a reason though. It's kind of just accepted. Okay, he wants more power. I was hoping for like a childhood background, like
something,
understanding why, because he became he was in the SAS. He became the very best in the SAS. So he then was on loan from the British Armed Forces to the American Armed Forces, because I don't know. I had to actually check.
If you looked it up,
I had to actually check to see how that would work, because I looked at it and went, hang on a minute, this guy's British. How is he in the American Armed Forces? And they mention it later on in the film after I made this note. The official notes on the official requirements: all applicants for enlistment in the armed forces for the US must be a US citizen by birth or naturalization, which is like if you've lived there long enough, or a non-US citizen that has a lawful permanent residence. So he obviously has to have that, but he was put on loan from the SAS to there. But I really wish we got a background as to why he wants to become better. Like, it's not his film, but some form of flashback or something that gives a bit of context as to why he constantly wants to be the best.
Yeah.
Which leads to the MCU's first super soldier, which I'm very salty about. I'm very annoyed.
That's something else that we kind of clocked in. This is the first introduction to the super soldier serum and the first MCU, not canonically, but
obviously Captain America's set in the 40s.
Yeah.
This is set in 2008.
But in terms of film release, this is the first super soldier we have on screen. Blasting through the last two cast members now. We've got Liv Tyler as Betty Ross, who, again, an even bigger jump. We don't see again until Captain America this year, 25.
Yes.
Yeah, so even bigger jump.
Post-credit scene.
And she didn't really get much recognition, which understandably she only has really now 2 appearances, and the second one is just like just 2 minutes, if that, at the very end of the film. And then we've got Tim Blake Nelson as Samuel Stearns, Mr. Blue, who in this film I didn't really leave an impact on me. It's not until again later on that we kind of get more of him. But I suppose he does, he's in it. But that's really all he kind of left on me, was just that he was there.
Yet again, you've missed one.
I'm not, for someone that likes casts, I'm not good at them. Go on, who have I missed? Does the director star in this?
No, the director's not in this one. Ty Burrell, Phil from Modern Family. He plays Betty Ross's boyfriend.
Oh yeah,
who she doesn't even break up with. She just runs away with the Hulk.
Is there a conclusion to that? I can't. Or is it just kind of disappears throughout the film?
He's at the university fight, and then she runs away with him, and he kind of just goes, "Oh well, that's my girlfriend gone, who I've been dating for the past 3 years."
Great.
So yeah, he's in the film, and all I can see is Phil from Modern Family. I can't see anybody else. Great actor.
Yeah,
I've got nothing against. He's not. He embodies the boyfriend role very well.
Yeah,
but I just can't see. I can't see anybody else other than Phil from Modern Family in this.
So you've got some notes on the kind of the themes and the horror aspect that this film kind of takes on.
Yeah. So the first Hulk out.
Yeah.
Do you remember where that is in the film?
It's in Brazil at the start, isn't it? And when the military are kind of closing in on him. And that's that first bit in the dark.
They find him and they chase him into the factory. Yeah. I believe he ends up there, and that to me, they repeat the same notes in Avengers, in the helicarrier with Black Widow, but they the CGI is better in the Avengers, so they show it a bit more. But not seeing him change and just seeing people get thrown around, that to me is how the Hulk should work as a transition.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's the first time you get it in. See, you mentioned earlier, you go by director, I go by actor.
Yeah.
When we talk about the old Hulk film, so obviously I always refer to it as the Eric Banner.
Yeah.
And then you refer to it as
the Ang Lee Hulk.
Yeah. So completely different takes on it, but the Ang Lee Hulk and the Eric Banner, the way that was done, obviously the Hulk has to be CGI.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing the 70s one, it's just a big green painted man who, again, we're not going to go into too many Easter eggs, is in this film.
Has a little cameo in this.
Do you remember where he is?
He's a security guard, isn't he? At
He
the
is
university.
in the pizza time scene.
Yes.
Which
Again, was something that we clocked in this. It was very, very Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that horror aspect where it just comes out, and there's no full shot of the Hulk. The first full shot of the Hulk that we get, I believe, is at the university fight. So when they gas him and he's in that little section, he bursts out, and we get to see the hand on the glass, and then that's the first full scene that we see of the Hulk. But we don't actually see him until then. And this horror aspect is beautiful because you see his glowing eyes.
Yeah.
You see an arm every now and then. You see him crash through some stuff, but you don't fully see him. And leaving it till pretty much halfway through the film to see the Hulk, for once, actually works. Because one thing I don't like is seeing the the full superhero moment halfway through the film.
Yeah.
As we discussed about, origin stories and all that, and taking such a long time to get, to don the mask or don the helmet.
But it works.
So
it works.
It really works for this because you know he's running away from it.
Mm-hmm.
You know enough from that opening crawl that he's hiding. He's gone to Brazil. He's actually actively running away from this thing that he's got inside of him.
And you've got the timestamps to say how long he's gone without turning.
Yeah.
So you know that he doesn't. You know he doesn't want to. He is running from that.
So I want to talk about a couple of things with Mr. Blue and the relationship between Mr. Green, which is a brilliantly chosen name, and then Mr. Blue. First, who do you think chose their name first?
I feel like it's definitely got to be Bruce Banner.
You think?
Okay.
Because my aspect of it is Mr. Blue exists as somebody on the internet already. And he reaches out and contacts him and then goes, well, he's called Mr. Blue, so I'm not Bruce Banner, I'm Mr. Green.
I like that headcanon.
That's the way I've thought about it in my head. But the first thing I want to talk about is obviously there's an element of filmmaking where you push the story and you carry on and you move through. Yeah. You don't want to wait around for hours for something to happen. Why is he always online?
Mr. Blue.
Yeah, this is before mobile phones were easily accessible like they are now. We're filming on them.
Yeah.
They weren't as good.
You don't get notifications.
You don't get notifications. Obviously, Banner just sits there typing, going, the military, they're here now, and he goes immediately online.
Yeah.
Typing in a different time zone, bear in mind.
Yeah.
And just randomly. And again, it's that aspect of push the story, push the plot. You don't want to go, the military are here.
2 hours later. Yeah.
Bullet in the back of the head, already dead.
Yeah. I quite like the idea that the Mr. Blue's just got this computer in his lab somewhere that's open.
In his bed.
It's just constantly open and he's constantly waiting for messages from Mr. Green. But yeah, that, like you said, that kind of realism then of waiting a few hours for a message to get back, it just doesn't work in film. So you've got to have that response.
Yeah.
Just to push it forwards.
And the other thing I've got written down in my notes is obviously in order for Mr. Blue to analyze his blood.
Yeah.
What does Bruce Banner do?
What does he do?
He posts it.
He posts it. I've forgotten about that.
He takes a syringe, sucks some of his blood out, puts it in a little vial, and posts it.
That's not getting through customs.
That's so illegal. There is no way that is allowed. And that brings me on to another point. Unless you've got any notes on Mr. Blue.
I don't. I didn't.
You don't like him.
It's not I don't like him. I think he was kind of there just to be there. Just to, you know what? No. You know what he was there for? To set him up as the leader that was then not resolved until a few years later, a good amount of time later. But it's not, I'm not like him. I just didn't really connect with him in the film.
So you've ruined my segue now because we're talking about legalities.
Sorry, yes, go on.
So I've got a very, very interesting point. So towards the end of the film, they arrest Bruce Banner. They take him into custody. That's partially because they want to study him and create more like him and create a platoon of soldiers to go and destroy America's enemies.
Yeah.
Like every military film. But my question is, from a legal standpoint, which is discussed in The Death and the Trial of the Incredible Hulk, can you legally prosecute Bruce Banner?
It's interesting to think about, because I remember we kind of brought this up when we were watching the film. In that it's because I guess it's technically a different identity. So that I don't know.
Would you bring the mental health act into it and have an insanity plea?
You possibly could. I don't know how people with dissociative identity disorder
I was going to say
are
with the same
charged.
split personality, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So I'm not too clued up on that, but it's a very interesting point to think about, because
I mean, there's not much point in asking it, because we're asking a completely theoretical question for laws that don't exist.
It's still interesting.
But it's an interesting thought.
My take is that they're two different identities. Yes, okay, one turns into the other, but I would personally say that you have to charge Hulk as Hulk.
Yeah, but then how do you then prosecute with that? You can't charge him with a very specific, like, you can't lock up the Hulk and then
let Bruce Banner out. Like shared custody, like on weekends you can go out.
On weekends you can go out as Bruce Banner, but on weekdays we get the Hulk in that cell. So I think the interesting way that we're running through this is we're talking a lot about the characters. So obviously, coming towards the end of our video, it's important we talk about the end of the film, because we've mentioned the villain problem. So my question to you is the villain problem Iron Man's fault, or is it the Hulk's fault?
I suppose because the Hulk is technically the one to carry that on. They could have left it at Iron Man, but I don't know. It's the comic book's fault for having the same powered villains as the heroes.
I think, well, no, not necessarily. I would disagree that the comic books have their recurring villains,
of course. Which we spoke about this in Iron Man in the MCU getting rid of villains.
The differences between Abomination and Hulk. We see Hulk talk.
Yeah.
In this, can't, which is a shame, because I'm sure he's had very colourful things to say about the Hulk in that final fight. So obviously you get the third. It's the third act really in this. The final battle is the third act before we get into the fourth wrap up epilogue section. And again, starting the same problem, big smashy up city.
Yeah.
Final fight with the villain. And one thing, another thing rather than one thing that I want to mention. How much is home insurance and car insurance in the Marvel universe?
It's got to be through the roof.
You'll be paying so much money.
Yeah.
For that, and medical insurance on top.
God, yeah.
Like you're buying a car every how often Marvel films come out? Every 6 months?
Every 6, yeah. Every twice, at least twice a year.
Twice a year.
Yeah.
Because obviously, the Hulk in this sense is picking up people's cars and throwing them across town, and then you come back to your car. It's like Stanley and Ant-Man comes back and goes, "Well, the drugs were fun in the 60s, but I'm paying for it now."
Yeah.
Like you just come back and your house is smashed and there's a fist through your window.
Yeah.
And then your car's gone. You must be paying so much money per month on your insurance for that.
Speaking of I guess funny little things that we noticed in this, sort of backtracking to the university scene where they're using, they've got the militaries there and they're kind of gunning down Hulk, and he's just walking through this absolute shower of bullets, absolutely untouched.
I think you're going to mention the problem that I have with most action films that involve guns, but go on.
Yeah, so they're absolutely attempting to mow down Hulk, and he's completely unaffected. He's absolutely fine, not even a scratch, not a drop of blood, nothing. And then in the next scene, when he takes Betty Ross to that cave, as he puts her down, he stands up.
You're laughing about it already. I don't know what you're going to say now. That's why I'm laughing.
He stands up, bangs his head, groans, and then oh, it really hurts. It's like, so machine guns can't get you, but if you knock your head on a rock, that's the way
and
to
then
take.
Not just machine guns, being absolutely destroyed by Emil Blonsky in Super Soldier mode, backflipping and stabbing you and throwing things at you.
So the way to take down Hulk is I think a rock to the back of the head, and then he's down. Then
Put him in a cave, let him bash his head.
Forget lullabies.
No, so the thing that I thought you were going to mention. So let's say, for example, and humour me with this. Let's say you're a man with a gun,
and
you need to shoot somebody who's got a lot of superpowers and is very strong.
Yeah.
How many bullets do you fire before you go, this isn't working?
I'd say a solid 2 or 3 seconds worth before I kind of realised that nothing is happening.
Yeah,
I'm going to run the other way.
One of the things I find when you get a really, really strong character in any film, you get it in Transformers, you get it in King Kong and Godzilla, anything where somebody has got like skin or metal.
Some kind of invulnerability.
Yeah, some kind of invulnerability to, very small metal bullets in comparison to, the size of them. One thing I do notice is people just decide to unload a holy amount of bullets and just not give up.
Yeah.
And the same as, the Star Wars problem is a little bit different where, you'll start shooting and never hit the target because they're running away and you're following them as they go across. If you start at the other end, you'll meet them at some point. So, it's the military tactic within films and especially action films and things that deal with your sci-fi. It just doesn't work and it's completely impractical. And interesting you talk about the Hulk fight scenes because especially leading back to the university fight. One of the things about that when they gas him, what do they think was going to happen?
I don't know.
They're very well aware of his powers. They're very well aware of what can happen.
They're not been studying him and following him for the last however many years.
/ this research was Bruce Banner working for the military.
Yeah.
So, because he was trying, obviously, one thing that people forget with this is, Bruce Banner's not just a mad scientist. He was trying to replicate the super soldier serum, which goes wrong. They replicate it perfectly and give it to Emil Blonsky in this.
Which again,
sorry, I've just read a note that I forgot.
No, it's
I need to say this one. So obviously, one thing that the Hulk has, he rips out of all his clothes, but what remains?
His shorts.
His purple shorts.
Yeah.
What happens to Abomination? Where does his genitalia go?
that is They
just disappear.
I remember us talking about that when Is it? Yeah, I don't. The answer to that question is I do not know, and neither does Emil Blonsky.
So again, leading towards the fight scenes and the end of the film. Again, the beautiful moment of Hulk accepting his own fate and saving Bruce Banner.
Yeah,
which you get throughout every iteration
any Hulk
of
thing.
The Hulk. Yeah, you get the fact that Hulk understands his sacrifice has to be made for Banner to live a normal life at times. But then again, Bruce Banner believes he's cured himself by the end of this film. He believes that he's got rid of the Hulk. And then still decides to jump headfirst out of a helicopter.
Yeah.
He's like, I've got this.
He just believes that the Hulk can save him. Even if he's cured, just believe that the Hulk will something will happen. But yeah, I'd forgotten about that as well. Yeah.
And then my final note before I get to our wrap up. Is, we've got this very, very intelligent man who turns into a big green angry rage monster, and that intelligence doesn't carry over. The Hulk is very, very stupid.
Yes,
but he's very, very, very strong. The Abomination is very, very, very smart.
Yeah,
very, very, very not as strong. Well, not as strong as the Hulk.
Yeah,
and that's the thing that ends up winning him the fight.
It's a good little contrast between the two.
It is, yeah. Anything you want to add?
We are kind of coming towards the end now. I think we kind of knew this would be a shorter sort of talk because I think I said at the start the Incredible Hulk is almost kind of the MCU's forgotten child in a way. In that I said I'd not watched it properly until we watched it for this. Not a lot of people watch it in the rewatches. It'd be interesting to know if anyone wants to comment it. If you do you include it in an MCU rewatch? Because I know a lot of people don't, and again, it's that disconnection with the recast, I think, and not a lot of the characters or plot lines leading on from that. And then until we get to kind of She-Hulk and Brave New World. But a kind of question that I wanted to ask you: do we think the Hulk deserves another solo outing in the MCU?
I think you couldn't pick it up now. you couldn't go and give us a good, solid Hulk film
with the kind of the direction the
with
character's gone
this.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he definitely has transitioned into that side. I think partially because of licensing, they transitioned him into that side character that he is now. He's obviously a main part of the Avengers ensemble still, but obviously, again, my issue with Smart Hulk is you've lost that interesting contrast between Bruce Banner being this incredibly composed, smart, intelligent man, and going to this very, not necessarily dumb, but this very, focus on physique and strength side of things that Bruce Banner isn't. So you lose that. I think whenever you lose contrast within a character, the interesting thing about Spider-Man and Peter Parker is you've got Peter Parker being, this small, nerdy,
a loser, essentially.
Weak, bullied character into somebody who can catch a bus at going 70 mile an hour and lift, a bridge above his head. Like that's the big and he's got the mask on, so he's comfortable making funny comments and quips and insulting people. And whenever you lose contrast within a character, I often feel that is a step in the wrong direction.
It's very rarely a positive thing.
Yeah.
That's how you buy into a character's development in a sense is that contrast, whether it be Hulk and Bruce Banner or Spider-Man and Peter Parker. The second that you kind of lose the thing that makes them individual, you in a sense lose what makes that character special.
We can't talk about the end of the film without talking about something very, very important. The second iteration of a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Obviously, Iron Man set the standard and had a post-credit scene, and then this one continues, tying it in with Iron Man.
Yeah.
So we get Iron Man visiting good old William Hurt at the bar.
Yeah.
Who is drinking a green drink.
The green soda.
And has a little snide comment about the super soldier serum, going, I thought we put that on ice for a reason. Which, have you ever seen? It's on Disney Plus, but it was originally aired and put on the special bonus of the DVDs. Have you seen the discussion between Coulson and I can't remember his agent's name, but the bold agent,
Sitwell.
Sitwell. Between Coulson and Sitwell, where they sit down and talk about this post credit scene, basically.
I don't know. I haven't seen
that. So there's a scene that was added into, I think it's on the Avengers DVD bonus features. It's now on Disney Plus. It's called The Consultant.
I've heard of it. I've not watched it.
Yeah. So they sit down and they talk about, who do we go and send to speak to William Hurt, to Thaddeus Ross about this whole Hulk thing? Who do we send? And they basically come to terms and go, well, there's only one person we can send. Which one of us wants to go? Which one of us wants to go send Tony Stark in to do this?
Yeah.
So I won't spoil it for you. I'll let you watch it at some point. But that's a really fun tie-in to this post-credit scene as to why he was sent.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously post Iron Man 2, where they go, we're going to put you on a consultancy level, and that's where the Hulk fits in. It fits in technically just after Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
Rather than where it is now. So the events of the Incredible Hulk take place after Iron Man 1. And then Iron Man 2 takes place, and then during Iron Man 2, they go, you're on a consultant level, send him to go speak to William Hurt, and that's where the post-credit scene
that's where it ties in.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, though, that kind of the I mentioned it's sort of a totally different film to Iron Man. I was like, well, definitely a totally different film. And they kind of keep that disconnect from the MCU in a way, because they focus solely on that world. It's only until you get that pre-credit scene with Iron Man that you then... It directly ties into that, which I think is interesting. They've kind of not done much world building and connections throughout the film. It's only that last little bit that kind of ties them together.
Which I feel like up until Endgame, we'd started to lose.
Yeah.
We'd started, especially with the Avengers, which makes sense. The Avengers, they're all within the same team in the same thing. And then you get, Falcon appearing in Ant-Man.
Mm-hmm.
You get all these other different characters appearing across other different films. You get Black Widow appearing in Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
You get all these crossovers that take away, not that they don't take away, but necessarily they take away some screen time from the main character. And I do miss a time where we're starting to get back to now.
I think
especially having just seen Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
There's pretty much, without any spoiling anything, it's just a Fantastic Four.
There's nothing else. Yeah. It is just Fantastic Four.
Which is obviously because we know it's set in a different world, but that's irrelevant. I think it would still be the same if they did it now.
I think Kevin Feige has come out and said during the press for Fantastic Four is that they are going to start leaning more towards that kind of that thing because he not necessarily blames I don't want to call it a flop. Not necessarily blames the way that
Superhero fatigue, I think he called it.
yeah, in that he doesn't want to have people feel like they've got to do loads of research and homework before they can go and watch the latest one. So I think they are starting to lean more towards that now, with like sort of the independent kind of stories and not having to watch a whole catalogue of Disney Plus series before you can go and watch the next film.
Obviously, one thing we were doing with Iron Man is we gave our personal rating.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
6.5 is where I put it.
Yeah, I'm a little bit lower than you. I'm a 6.
Ooh, okay. I was gonna go 6, and I was like, but that's I felt a bit harsh. So I gave it a 0.5.
Yeah, I do feel 6 is a bit harsh, but for me, it's a bit mean to say. I probably could go the rest of my life not watching it again.
But I think that's again because of the fact that what they recast and they bring it in, they change the tone, so it doesn't feel like you're missing out much.
Yeah.
But then again, I do actually enjoy the film, having watched it recently now.
For me, that first act in Brazil was the strongest. It did start to lose me then as it went on. I felt it. It's not that I don't enjoy a slow film, because it is quite a slow burner. And like you said, you don't get that Hulk transformation until halfway through, and it does work in that sense. But for me, it's not as, I don't know what the word is. It's not as punchy as I kind of, not in terms of action, but kind of, it doesn't hit as many beats as I want it to. As well, I think as well structured as Iron Man is, you kind of got that. I mean, we disagreed on this, but the act structure of that film, for me, it kind of gets muddled in the middle. So you've got the opening in Brazil, which is strongest for me. You've got that middle bit that for me is just all a blur, and then you've got the end fight with Abomination. For me, with say Iron Man, I can definitively think about each act in that film, whether it's this, I just remember start and end. Yeah,
so I think to sum up what you just said, I think if they took it off Disney Plus and I was doing a watch of the MCU, I wouldn't go hunting for it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be like, oh, like with with the Spider-Man films, they're not on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So I've got the DVDs. Obviously, I've got the DVD for Hulk.
But you've got a way of watching it.
But I've got a way of watching it. But I wouldn't go out of my way to go, okay, let me hunt for...
I think that's a better way of wording it than I have.
One thing we couldn't do with Iron Man, because there was nothing to compare it to.
It's just the one film.
Exactly. It's just the one film on its own. But now we have two. So... where are we putting Hulk on our tier list at the moment?
Yeah, so we're gonna for the entire MCU, we're gonna kind of be doing now like a personal tier list. So for me, we've got Iron Man at the top.
This is something we've got to agree on.
Okay.
So
it's
100% we have to agree on this.
Is it a collective thing?
It's going to be a lovely image. Here. No. Here. This is your job to do.
Yeah.
We'll include some form of Top Gear-esque.
It's a
tier list.
It's not a personal tier list.
Not we've done our personal ranking.
Okay.
We have to decide where these films go, which is easy for these two.
This is going to get messy as we go.
It's going to get very messy
because we have a lot of disagreement. Not a lot, but we've got quite different.
There's a couple in there. So go on.
I'm going to say, and I think I quite commonly say, that Hulk goes below Iron Man.
Hulk goes below Iron Man. So at the moment we have Iron Man and then Hulk. As this series goes on, that is going to be a lot harder to figure out.
I'm not looking forward to that.
Me neither. But it's definitely. I don't think it's a bad film in a sense.
Absolutely not.
I definitely wouldn't put those words in front of this film.
No.
But it's definitely not as good as Iron Man, especially from an origin film standpoint. But then again, obviously, we discussed that this film doesn't really have an origin.
No.
But as in from a first film for this character. In the MCU, I'd put it below Iron Man.
Definitely. So that's everything. I think we've kind of gone through all our notes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that is a wrap for this week's episode of Let's Talk About That. Any final thoughts, Hayden? Stunned. He is lost for words. So no, as you can tell, it's just me on this. So in 2 weeks' time, you can join us on this channel where we were having a look at Iron Man 2. That should be pretty fun. We've filmed that now. It's looking like a good video, so tune in for that. Also, launching on the 1st of September, Spotify. So the first 2 episodes will be available on Spotify at the same time, and then they'll be following on the same day as the YouTube upload. So that's going to be pretty fun. So you can listen to us in your car without looking at their faces, because as my mother says, I have a face for radio. So, thank you for watching. Good day, good night, good evening, good afternoon. Whichever place you're in, whichever time zone you're in. Hope you have a wonderful day. And see you next time.